Students, we are coming to the coagulation of lyophobic sols. So there are different ways how these lyophobic sols can be coagulated. The first method is by electrophoresis, isn't it? So by electrophoresis, the colloidal particles move towards oppositely charged electrodes. They get discharged and they get precipitated. So this is how we can coagulate them. Second is, students, by mixing two oppositely charged sols. If oppositely charged sols are mixed and in equal proportions, so they neutralize their charges. So one has to be positively charged sol and the other has to be a negatively charged sol. So you can see here, by mixing two oppositely charged sol, when we mix them in equal proportions, we neutralize their charges and get partially or completely precipitated, isn't it? So mixing of hydrated ferric oxide, that is positive sol, and arsenous sulphide, negative sol, bring them in precipitated forms. This type of coagulation is called mutual coagulation. So students, we can coagulate them by mixing two types of sols. One is positively charged, one is negatively charged. Third is, by boiling also we can make them coagulate. When a sol is boiled, the adsorbed layer is disturbed due to increased collisions. So the collisions are increased, students. So when a sol is boiled, the adsorbed layer is disturbed because collisions increase with the molecules of dispersion medium. So this reduces the charge of the particles and ultimately it leads to settling down in the form of a precipitate. Now by persistent dialysis also we can increase their charge. On prolonged dialysis, traces of the electrolyte present in the sol are removed. When we dialyze them, traces of electrolytes, whatever is present in them, they are removed and almost completely they are removed. The colloid becomes unstable and ultimately it coagulates. So students, by persistent dialysis also, you keep continuing the process of dialysis. What happens? The traces of electrolytes which were present in the sol, which were responsible for its stability, they are removed completely. So this is how the colloid becomes unstable and finally they coagulate. Coming to the next type, students, by addition of electrolytes, by addition of electrolytes. So when excess of an electrolyte is added, when excess of an electrolyte is added, the colloidal particles are precipitated. The reason that colloids interact with ions carrying charge opposite to that present on them or present on themselves. So what happens, students? अगर किसी में चार्ज प्रेजेंट है किसी कोलॉइड में और आपने उसके ऑपोजिट चार्ज वाला इलेक्ट्रोलाइट ऐड कर दिया है ना, तो भी इनका न्यूट्रलाइजेशन हो जाता है. The ion which is responsible for neutralization of charge on the particle is called coagulating ion. So कोई नेगेटिव आयन जो कि प्रेसिपिटेशन कॉज कर सकता है ना, तो वो किसका प्रेसिपिटेशन कर सकता है? पॉजिटिवली चार्ज सोल का. तो एक पॉजिटिवली चार्ज सोल को नेगेटिवली चार्ज वाले आयन से हम प्रेसिपिटेट करा सकते हैं. सो स्टूडेंट्स, नाउ वी आर कमिंग टू वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, बिकॉज यहाँ पर हम ये देखने जा रहे हैं कि जब भी कोई कोलॉइडल सोल है तो उसमें जो हम आयंस ऐड कर रहे हैं उस आयंस की वैलेंसी अगर हायर है तो प्रेसिपिटेशन की कैपेसिटी भी हायर होती है. So the greater the valency of the flocculating ion added into the solution, the greater is its power to cause precipitation. This is known as Hardy-Schulz rule. So in the coagulation of a negative Sol, the flocculating power is in the order aluminium 3 positive, then barium 2 positive, then sodium 1 positive. Okay. So greater the valence of the flocculating ion added, greater is its power to cause precipitation. Okay. This is known as Hardy-Schulz rule. In the coagulation of a negative Sol, the flocculating power is in the order, suppose aluminium ion सबसे ज़्यादा है 3 पॉजिटिव, उससे थोड़ा कम है बेरियम आयन 2 पॉजिटिव, उससे और कम है सोडियम आयन 1 पॉजिटिव. सो ये तो था कैटायंस का ऑर्डर. अभी एनायंस का ऑर्डर देखो. इन द कोएगुलेशन ऑफ अ पॉजिटिव सोल, पॉजिटिव सोल अगर है तो हाँ नेगेटिवली चार्ज यानी एनायंस का यूज़ करेंगे. सो द फ्लॉक्यूलेटिंग पावर इज इन द ऑर्डर हेक्सासाइनोफेरेट, isn't it? FeCN6 4 नेगेटिव ऑन द टॉप. यहाँ पर आयरन की वैलेंसी क्या होगी स्टूडेंट्स? +2 होगी, isn't it? और एंटिटी इज नेगेटिवली चार्ज्ड, तो आयरन का लैटिन नेम में 8 लगेगा, तो हेक्सासाइनोफेरेट 2. आयरन की वैलेंसी 2 है इसलिए रोमन में 2 होगा ब्रैकेट में. सो ग्रेटेस्ट चार्ज इज प्रेजेंट ऑन दिस कॉम्प्लेक्स anion, that is hexacyanoferrate, then phosphate PO4 3 negative, then sulfate SO4 2 negative, and then chloride. So the minimum concentration students, इसको अच्छी तरह से आपको लर्न करना है. This point has to be studied very well. The minimum concentration of the electrolyte in millimoles per liter, millimoles per liter required to cause precipitation of a Sol in 2 hours is called its coagulating value. Students, ये देखो ये coagulating value की definition है. So please learn it by heart, because the minimum concentration of an electrolyte in millimoles per liter required to cause precipitation of a Sol in 2 hours is called coagulating value. The smaller the quantity needed, the higher will be the coagulating power of an ion. Okay. So students, you must learn this. Hardy-Schulz rule तो हमेशा ही important रहा है. इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस, इलेक्ट्रोऑस्मोसिस एंड ये वैलेंसी जो होती हैं एनायन कैटायन की एंड कोएगुलेटिंग वैल्यू, ये सब इम्पॉर्टेंट है. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पेज. You must follow your own book also. To consult this, page number 142 I did just now. Thank you.